Perfectionism doesn't exist in the external world, even though our mind likes to think that it does. Chasing perfection in our external environment only pulls us away from the truth that our soul itself is already whole and complete. I've really been feeling the perfectionism really present over the past month or so. It's a theme that's always present in my life, like literally since childhood. And as you guys know, I have OCD and it kind of goes hand in hand with that. But of course, not everyone who has OCD is a perfectionist. But for me, it definitely shows up. But it shows up in ways that you probably don't see. Like if you looked around my house at things, it's not like I'm like perfectly organized and you don't externally see it, but definitely in my mind, I'm a perfectionist. Even when I'm editing content and like making yoga flows and things, I'm definitely a perfectionist in that way. Like if I say something, it doesn't sound perfectly right, I'll have to like voice it over and fix it and things like that. So I can't just let it go. But I'm trying to remember that things in the external world are always going to be imperfect. Nothing can ever be 100%. There's always going to be uncertainties, what ifs, and things that just aren't 100% perfect. It's not realistic in this external world that we live in. And this really doesn't matter because our inner soul spirit already is perfect, whole, and complete is the phrase that my yoga teacher always used, and it always kind of stayed with me. And sometimes I don't always feel like that, but I will say if I actually take the time to sit and bring my awareness inward, then I do feel that way again. So that's why it's so important to take those moments of quiet and calm and just time to tune and go within, because the external world really does try to pull us away from that. So, letting go of perfectionism is this month's Patreon theme. So, I figured since I'm going to be doing a yoga flow and meditation on this topic today, I'd continue on with the theme and try to bring this into my life throughout the day. So I'm taking you guys along with me, hopefully give you inspiration on ways you too can really just let go of needing everything in the external world to be perfect. So I'm having some lunch. I made butternut squash soup the other day. My garden really sucked this year, which wasn't helpful for my perfectionist self. But I did get a really nice butternut squash, so I made that the other day. And if you're interested, I actually made this last year in the fall autumn vlog, so I'll link that if you want to get the recipe. It's really tasty. But anyway, I'm sitting in my kitchen. And normally, because my lighting in my kitchen kind of sucks, I would want to go get my studio lights as I sit here. But I'm really trying to let go of things needing to be perfect today. So I'm just going to film with whatever natural lighting I have in here and give myself a little grace, because honestly, I have not been able to keep up with creating content in the way that I was. It's just not realistic right now. I have too many freelancing jobs, and then between seeing clients, it's just not happening. I would love to go back to creating more content one day if I can, but right now, no. I need to give myself a little grace, and maybe that means creating content that doesn't need to be so perfect, because I still want to share with you guys as consistently as I can. But yeah, so just some thoughts for right now. The other thing I did today, which might be a little more of an OCD thing for me, not so much perfectionist, but I sometimes have that, like in certain areas where I need things to be just right. And my engagement ring, which I normally wear on my left finger, really has not been fitting lately. I don't know. I didn't lose weight or anything, but it seems like very loose on the left side. I normally wear my wedding band on my right hand, but my right ring finger, I guess, is a little bit bigger than my left. So actually the engagement ring fits perfectly on this side. And actually the wedding bands, which are a little smaller, fit better on the left. But for me to switch this over after wearing the engagement ring on the left for like 5 years, I guess the wedding band for 4 on the one side, was actually kind of hard. I've been avoiding it, and I've actually just been wearing my rings less. So I just put them on today, and I'm like, you're gonna get used to it. It doesn't need to be perfectly exactly how it's been for the past 4 to 5 years. You could switch which finger you wear the ring on. So I'm trying that. If you have just right themes in your OCD, you probably get that, or maybe you just have that without having full-blown OCD. But yeah, little things I'm working on today. For meditation today, we worked with Shapana Mudra, which really helps us to let go, which I feel went really nicely with our theme of letting go of perfectionism. So we worked with that mudra, and then we actually worked with a mantra to bring us back to connection with the soul spirit, which is already whole and complete. In yoga, there's a mantra, so hum, which means I am or I am that. So no complex definition of what you think you should be, you just are. I know I said perfectionism doesn't come up as much in my home, but maybe it does. Because right now, this is my house. We have yoga mats everywhere, basically, for this sweet, sweet angel, the gold one. Because he has definitely been having a little trouble walking on the hard floor. He tends to be slipping, so where he does most of his walking around the house, we have now put yoga mats down, which actually has seemed to really help him. But in my mind, it drives me crazy because I can't handle how it looks. And my husband is just like, what's the big deal? Who cares? And I'm definitely not going to take away the mats for my sweet, sweet 15-year-old boy. He deserves to be able to walk around in comfort. But looking at them does drive me a little bit crazy, and maybe I will get something better, even though I don't know if throwing runners all around is really going to look much nicer anyway. I don't know. If anyone has any nice aesthetic ideas that might look a little better, let me know. In our yoga practice today, we worked on poses and movements to let go. We worked on being playful and exploring how this human form can move. And we also embraced using props for certain poses and not expecting a pose to look a certain way. Because a lot of times in yoga, we get stuck on the way a pose is supposed to look instead of just doing what feels best for our bodies or just embracing where we're at. And lastly, we worked on just letting go and coming back to that soul self connection that really is already whole and complete, regardless of the imperfections that go on in the external world. The soul itself is perfect, whole, and complete. And you can access both the meditation and the yoga practice on my Patreon. I would love to have you there as part of that community. It's just a place where we get to connect a little bit on a deeper level, and it also helps support me to continue creating here on YouTube. So any support I deeply appreciate. So I figured let's go out to the garden, where I've definitely been struggling this year. Pretty much everything I've planted has been almost a failure, which is probably me being dramatic. But I even got this planter box to see if that would help, because I think the bunnies have been eating everything in my garden, and pretty much everything's been being eaten now by caterpillars. So anyway, I've definitely been struggling, but I still need to remember that even when things aren't perfect, they are still successes, like my butternut squash that I had with my soup. And my biggest success this year is that my string bean art actually worked, because last year it did not. I put a little chicken wire around the bottom, which stopped the bunnies from eating the plants, and it's actually really beautiful. So just remembering to not always look at the negative, that there's always positive around when you look for it. And even in when things are going tough, there's still always positive in ways, right? Like me struggling with my garden, I've definitely learned things not to do. So finding the positive and just really letting go and surrendering. If I've learned anything from OCD treatment, it's that nothing in the external environment can ever be perfect. There will always be what ifs and uncertainty, and there's always going to be things that don't go according to plan. But if I've learned anything from my yoga practice and my spiritual practice, it's that this does not matter, and it doesn't hinder the beauty of our soul and spirit. So I invite you to join me to try to release some perfectionist tendencies, even in small ways, like me with my rings, so that you can come back to feeling centered and calm and at peace with it. Thank you guys for being here. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.